This is an interesting case here because they claim it's on an individual basis that all cases have to be considered and treated on an individual basis. Well, how can that have been the case? There's obviously some prejudice here, some bias. Okay. I think there is something very, very corrupt here. And of course you have the witch hunt, and they don't seem to be hunting for women, yet they have Ghislaine. So this has been prejudiced, and I believe it's politically motivated at the very least, and therefore those judges appointed by Donald Trump, he will dress things up to make it look like he is very fair, when in actual fact it isn't, because he clearly has influence over these judges, as do the Democrats. You see, they're appointed by political figures. They're not elected by the public. You see, it's the public that should decide who is elected to become a judge, and not via a political institution that's proven to be corrupt, including to the point where they would re-elect a president that has, in actual fact, via civil process, been convicted of offences relating to child sex trafficking and paedophilia. So this business with judges in the Supreme and all the courts, it has to be taken out of the hands of the politician. Has to go to the ballot box from now on. That's how it should be. The ballot box. Okay, but listen, an individual basis, and he's been convicted as an adult. So how could they have considered anything on an individual basis with this guy? Because he is actually 14 years old. He is a child. And that's how old he is, 14 years old. I don't know when the crime was committed, but obviously it's going to be younger than 14, be it by a few months or maybe a year or two. It just depends how long it took to get to trial. So he's been treated, apparently according to this, and even sentenced as an adult, which he clearly is not. So it's not been dealt with on an individual basis, this case, because he did not treat this individual as an individual based on his age. He's still a child. So it was not on an individual basis at all. It was prejudiced, most likely from the very beginning.
This 14-year-old is sentenced to life for murdering this cheerleader. Tristan Bailey, a 13-year-old cheerleader from Florida, was found in a wooded area near her home, and the investigation led to the arrest of a life. This 14-year-old is sentenced to life for murdering this cheerleader. Tristan Bailey, a 13-year-old cheerleader from Florida, was found in a wooded area near her home, and the investigation led to the arrest of a 14-year-old boy who was charged with her murder. The boy, who has not been named due to his age, was actually tried as an adult and sentenced to life in prison without parole. Some have argued that the 14-year-old should not have been held at the same standards as an adult. However, the Supreme Court has ruled that
He's the one, see this judge at the top, this is the one that got my attention with this case.
He tried as an adult and sentenced to life in prison without parole. Some have argued
he is known to me, and even his hair. But even without the tuft of hair, the rest of his face, he is known to me.
Argued that the 14-year-old should not have been held at the same standards as an adult. However, the Supreme Court has ruled that each case should be evaluated on an individual basis.
And that's how it should be. In fact, the individual basis, if they had actually done that, then that child, that 14-year-old, would have been treated as a child. But here's the thing. Even as a child, he could have been given a substantial sentence. But this is the article that got me the most. But also, look, there's a tough guy, look. That's a real hard man, that. I'm telling you, a lot harder than me, you know, as things go. I mean, you've got RAF, SCS, SBS, Navy SEALs, F-16s, you know, US Navy pilots and all others, artillery men and women that murder people daily when there's a war on, like children, babies, mums, dads. They don't give a shit. So he would have been, see, if the Foreign Legion had abducted him and not me, he'd be a colonel at least by now, maybe even a general. You never know. That's a tough guy, which I clearly am not. And I did tell them that in the Foreign Legion. That's when they started panicking big time. They wanted to know what people had been telling me as well. You know, who'd been telling them stuff.
A father who murdered his 4-week-old son by shaking him has been jailed for a minimum of 18 years. Atticus Bartlett died in hospital after collapsing at his family home in Chard, Somerset, on July 16, 2022. His father, Tony Bartlett, 39, of Axminster, Devon, was convicted of murder following a trial at Bristol Crown Court. The jury found Bartlett violently shook Atticus, causing severe internal injuries to the baby's brain and spinal cord. Mr. Justice Kavanagh jailed Bartlett, formerly a postman, for life and ordered him to serve a minimum of 18 years in prison. The judge told Bartlett he was very drunk when he carried out the fatal attack on Atticus, adding, "I have no doubt that this terrible tragedy would not have happened if you were not so heavily intoxicated." He said Bartlett had been feeding Atticus with a bottle and the baby was bringing up the milk. "In your drunken state, Atticus's inability to take the bottle as well as you thought he should enraged you," the judge said. "You had a sudden fit of anger. You vented that anger on your tiny baby son. You shook him very violently indeed, gripping him very tightly round his ribcage. This only lasted a few seconds or at most a minute or so. Just in that brief moment, you wanted to cause Atticus serious injury. As suddenly as you began, you stopped, your anger evaporated, and then you dozed off." The judge described Bartlett as having previously been a loving parent and said there was no history of violence towards Atticus, although he was known to have a fiery temper. He said, "Atticus should have had a long and happy life ahead of him. His life was ended before it really began. I say at the outset that I'm sure that you did not intend to kill Atticus. You did, however, intend to cause him really serious harm. The most significant aggravating factors are the extreme youth and vulnerability of your victim and the gross abuse of trust involved in this offense," he added. "Nobody is more vulnerable and reliant on others than a blameless 1-month-old baby. He could not stand up by himself. As Atticus's father, you were one of the two people, above anyone else, to whom he was entitled to look to for love and protection. You have known all along that it was you, and no one else, who was responsible for Atticus's injuries. It is likely that you immediately regretted what you had done, though not so much that you were prepared to own up to it or to express remorse for it." During the trial, Charles Rowe KC said Bartlett had been drunk and frustrated when he attacked his newborn son. Bartlett and his then partner, Evelyn Ballantyne, Atticus's mother, had gone to a pub and comedy club that evening. Miss Ballantyne's mother Rachel Donovan and her husband went to the family's home on Darcy's Row, Chard, to care for Atticus. Over the evening, Bartlett drank 8.5 pints of lager before returning home with Miss Ballantyne. Mr. Rowe told the court, Evelyn Ballantyne went upstairs for a few minutes, leaving Atticus in the defendant's sole care. When she returned, Atticus was lying face down across the defendant's lap. She said he's dead, he's not breathing. She noted that the defendant appeared to be asleep, or at least his eyes were closed. The defendant flipped Atticus over. Atticus released 2 gasps and appeared to be floppy and lifeless. Emergency services attended the property and Atticus was taken to Musgrove Park Hospital before being transferred to Bristol Royal Hospital for Children. His brain damage was so severe he did not regain consciousness or breathe for himself. Atticus died just before midnight on July 23, 2022. Experts said the injuries suffered by Atticus were associated with vigorous shaking, with his rib fractures caused by gripping and squeezing during that attack, Mr. Rowe told the court. In a victim personal statement, Ms. Ballantyne described how she had been left with severe anxiety following Atticus's death. "I will never know what kind of person Atticus would have become," she said. "I will never see him hit milestones. I will never see him go to school. I will never see him grow up and have a family of his own." She continued, "Who plans their baby's funeral? Who goes to the chapel of rest? I had to wait 11 hours and 18 minutes for Atticus to die. It was horrendous. I was scared to go out, I was scared to stay in. I don't enjoy any moments because I have a dead son. It is mentally and emotionally draining all the time. It is awful." Her mother, Mrs. Donovan, told the court how she wondered what Atticus would look like now and what toys he would like to play with. "I just want one more day with Atticus," she said. "I'm glad I had Atticus that night. He was loved and cuddled and had a lovely night with us. I just hope and pray he never knew what happened to him." Representing Bartlett, Nigel Power KC said his client had previously been a good and caring parent to his son. "This is not a case where there is intention to kill or premeditation," Mr. Power said. Detective Sergeant Sarah Bowden, of Avon and Somerset Police's Major Crime Investigation Team, said, "Tony Bartlett was alone with Atticus when he suffered these horrendous injuries, and the medical evidence gathered during the investigation proves he was solely responsible for causing them, despite his claims of innocence. This is a devastating case in which a very young baby has lost his life as the direct result of a cruel act by a man who was supposed to provide him with the protection and care he needed. The loss of Atticus has had a profound effect on all those who loved him. Our thoughts are very much with Atticus's family, who've had to endure a lengthy and complex police investigation, followed by a trial. They've shown great dignity and courage throughout. Investigations like this are extremely harrowing, and I'd like to thank all those who provided evidence and supported our investigation to establish the facts behind Atticus's tragic death. Register now for one of the Standard's newsletters. From a daily news briefing to homes and property insights, plus lifestyle, going out, offers and more. For the best stories in your inbox, click here.
Right. Anyway, yeah, that's really weird. I think someone should have spotted something right away. I would still take an interest in the mother. Well, and look at the name as well. It sounds like Greek. There's quite a few funny names. And names that, they're not. I have heard that people say that's a rather unusual name given your history. And they were talking about the name Sky and even traditionally Scottish names. You see? So let's see. I wonder, Atticus. It seems to be a lot of. There we are, philosopher. That's what I was looking for. Now, this is the thing that it appears that femcells have an issue with, including Plato. I think it's mainly that most, if not all, are men. So I would definitely look into the woman in this. I mean, honestly, if you're that's how you like your husband, what are you like? You know? I mean, instant death for a little baby for crying. You know, I mean, noise. I've been tortured with noise quite a lot. I'm trying to work out if this is associated with what they're trying to do to make me mentally unstable to the point where I might commit a violent act. I'm absolutely certain they do, anyway. But I'm even wondering if this is how far they would want me to go. Really, Dr. Palmer, Bethany Christian Trust, the Episcopal Church of Scotland, and the Church of Scotland, and the royal family, the Scottish Parliament, English Parliament, NATO, French Senate, and all you bloody women out there. Is this what you're after? You pimps and you blonde-haired beasts, male and female, here in Edinburgh, including Tommy Shepherd's pal in the car. When I met at the Scottish Youth Hostel Association at the top of Leith Walk, or near the top of Leith Walk. Yeah, the security guard at Edinburgh University threatening me, making threats to life while she was carrying a firearm. All the pedophiles with firearms in the police protection services, including at Queen Street and that street with the two schools. Jeff Haddo on, I think it's Holyrood Road, and all these other sex offenders that are even allowed to move into properties right next to the Scottish Parliament, you know, in that area called Dummy Dykes. And these new properties, all these minorities being allowed just to move in. Like they fucking owned the place long before we were even born. Or even before there was such a place as Scotland. Like, oh, this is ours. So they all get housed there. Well, this is the kind of shit that they want people to do to themselves. Same in the Foreign Legion, the captain, I forget his name, the sniper instructor or marksman instructor. He was part of the military police. He's one of the officers in managing the military police. I said, well, I won't do that then. And I knew they were assessing me for exploitation and fucking up, probably to this level. But I'd seriously look into his background. It's not that easy just convicting the man for what he did. You need to find out what happened before then. What drugs is he on? Because these larger than life characters, that's what they're like. They have that habit with drugs and steroids and other things. Maybe his wife is involved in that too. You never look at the woman in anything, you people. Never. You don't look at the woman, you're only seeing half the picture at least. So what I'm saying is, if you're probably looking at, well, just one half of the problem, but maybe even less than half if you look around them. I mean, it's really weird. They say there's no history of anything violent. How could there be no history of something? Someone that would murder a child just for screaming, I mean, crying or whatever. I mean, I was absolutely tortured nursing a baby to sleep. cradled the baby, and I think it was quite deliberate. I don't think it was all the baby, but I was just about ready to collapse, but I got the baby to calm down. So I think they were doing noise pollution even when the baby was crying. And that was when I was with my father. My father said, look, it's starting to bother me as well, so just shut it off. And that was it. The baby started to calm down. So, and Colin Murray, let's see if I can let you see him. Just make sure I've got enough time. Yeah. He's another one that's involved in torture, chemical and sound, heat, and other like food deprivation by putting blockers that block you in all sorts of levels. But these people, they take these drugs. They poison me with these drugs. I do not take them willingly or even knowingly. Here's another beast. I've seen him walking in and say, oh, you won't get me with that one. I knew he was one of them. Even before I recognized that fucker. Now, let's see. That's why he's panicking with Anne Widdecombe. He reckons there's a clean-up. And I think so too. But I'm struggling to believe it's all that they say. But and I haven't witnessed it, so then I wouldn't know, would I? I would just think it was something to do with her involvement in the child sex trade, which all ministers are involved in. Now let me see. Dropbox. I'll just go OneDrive because I'm already logged into that. And bloody carry on getting into this as well. Oh, just forget it. I've got like I think I might have there. Now this guy, look, see him there? He's one of the torturers, poisoners. She's the same as well. They get a better look there. She's one of them as well, one of the torturers. They use all sorts of means of torturing people. So that's obviously a high-end, I would say, if I could say that, pedophile, but then no. But obviously I was influenced by these beasts. And that's what they are. There's another, he's like, that's one of the people that was talking about you can get underage sex at the Scorpion Sauna. He's one of them. And there are others. I keep thinking that's a woman, but there's a woman in black that turned up. No, that's somebody's coat hanging up. But what they did was, well, here's one. I mean, I hardly saw that one. I'll have to look at the video because these are stills from the video. But he's the one that, I believe he's one of the people that said you'll get child sex, basically, or be able to say, well, it'll be child abuse. I don't want to say the wrong words, but I was part of that thing when I was a child as a victim. And that's basically your dialogue, especially when they don't let you recover you still have the same dialogue. I mean, even today, I'm 60. I'm still calling people, like I'm talking to adults about my same age and talking about, have you got a girlfriend, or have you got a boyfriend at the moment, and that, and to me it's just normal, like say, what others would say, do you have a lady friend or do you have a man friend? But I'm stuck in that dialogue. I tend to keep saying that. Even though I'm correcting myself now, it's not guaranteed that I won't say it again. So that's how it is with these people. These are the people you need to go after, and a lot more. You see, I'm this Lady Donaldson. Okay. This business with Lady Donaldson. But I can't imagine anybody that would murder a child, a baby. That amount of hate for a baby isn't gonna. There definitely is a history there. There's no doubt whatsoever. I mean, I'm not RAF and I'm not an artilleryman or anything like that, but I know they're just as bad. You're heroes. So it's no wonder, is it? And there's more. This one as well. These two. And these look like groomers. And that one as well looks like a proper tap. And this one looked, well, like a tap in her day. So that's a kind of, this one as well. And there's this one too. I don't give a fucking shit about it. This one consciously went out to infect other people because it's bad for business to have an STD or STI. So she was losing income. That's how I fucking see it. If she had the mind, the presence, or the conscience to say, well, look, you fucked with me, so I'm going to fuck with you. You gave me a disease, I'll give it back. And that's part of the con, the fraud around Donald Trump in his biography, where he says that he spent the 70s avoiding getting the STI, a sexually transmitted disease or infection. He's another familiar. She's another familiar. That story is only partly true, I suspect. Of course, you haven't got. This is another one, beyond all doubt. And there's more. This one as well. That's another hooker. This guy as well. So he's suspicious as well. I'm picking up things on that one as well. And there's more. Even this one. I keep thinking of Swinny. She's familiar. That guy as well. But I think there was something else in the story as well. So here, what every woman wants, a divorce. She wants a man that she can get a divorce with and get rid of the excess baggage at the same time. So I'd say the woman's no different. If that's what you like, then we should be, what's it called, spaying the woman or neutering the woman. Okay, if that's how you like them. And who's going to argue with that now that we know what they do?